Doubles and Coffee, 7:32 p.m. last night. Stuart R. Young, the Minister of Energy of Trinidad and Tobago, tweets a picture of himself and Delcy Rodriguez and PDVSA officials in Caracas, Venezuela, when Tobago is suffering from an oil spill from an unpowered vessel that has decimated our coastline and is threatening the coastline of Grenada. Stuart Smallpin Young is in Venezuela when Bellingcat and Tanker Tracker and all the investigations are showing that Gulf Stream that is upside down, leaking disgusting fuel oil all over our coral reef, killing our coastline, killing our fish, that was in Venezuela for an inordinate amount of time. It has a track record of being in Venezuela. We also know the history from 2019 Forbes articles and coming forward, the sanction busting activities of Maduro, Delcy Rodriguez, and PDVSA officials. We know that during COVID, Stuart Smallpin Young, as Minister of National Security, on the advice and instruction of Keith Christopher Rowley, as Smallpin said in the Senate, allowed Delcy Rodriguez, as Astrubal Chavez, and 4 other PDVSA officials to land in Trinidad and Tobago, while citizens were debarred from coming to the home rocks to meet face to face with Rowley. They lied and said it was about COVID. Smallpin admitted in the Senate that it was about oil and gas, and the Dragon gas they had been negotiating since 2016. Now, in the midst of the greatest catastrophe and danger posed to Trinidad and Tobago by an oil spill that we have no information on, a ghost ship, the tugboat, they saying it's Ranger. Ranger have another name called Apollo Creed, Solo Creed, and we're not finding out exactly who, where, when, why. The crew of the tugboat disappeared. Across the board, oil is spilling. No one can accept responsibility. The PNM has been involved in bunkering people without qualifications who are lawyers and other sorts of people without any experience receive bunkering contracts. We know that the Venezuelan Maduro and Rowley have been very tight. Rowley said, even though he was indicted for narco trafficking, corruption, money laundering, even though Maduro was threatening Guyana, Rowley said, well, we still have to do business, never mind the geopolitical situation, never mind human rights violations. Yesterday, Venezuelans threw out the UN officials who take care of migrants and ensure human rights are respected. Venezuela officials, Maduro, lock up the lead opposition figure. There are no free and fair elections coming, but Rowley sent Stuart Smallpin Young to Venezuela. When was this trip planned? When was the announcement? They jump up in Carnival and Fete and then end up in Venezuela while oil is spilling out from a sunken, overturned barge that had links to Venezuela, that had been in Venezuela, that had been in the port of Astenave in Venezuela, that had parked up in Venezuela. The tugboat and the crew is missing and the oil is spilling. But Smallpin jump on a plane to represent you. Nobody cares. Smallpin go by Smallpin for Smallpin, about Smallpin, to choke Smallpin, He is the Minister of Energy of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Well, Smallpin, when you tweet your next tweet, your small tweet with your small pin, hear this now. I hope you ask Delcy, where that oil come from? What that barge doing there? Where the barge was going? Where the tugboat? Where the crew? Was that tugboat and that vessel Gulf Stream ever parked up and anything loaded upon it in Venezuela, at any port in Venezuela? Do you have anything to do with that disaster that's happening in my island of Tobago? Smallpin asked Delcy, and if any of those questions she answers yes, ask her how much money she going to give to Tima and to the ODPM and to the cleanup crew, how much responsibility she and her government are going to take for the decimation of our pristine diamond called Tobago. While you're over there, small pin, ask Delcy if the boat, if the upside down Gulf Stream, if the crew, if anything have to do with Venezuela. Since you and Rowley love up the conga line with Venezuela, we in a total emergency, you jump on a plane and go to Venezuela to talk to Delcy and Maduro rather than to oversee the cleanup, rather than to ensure that that oil does not damage Tobago for decades to come. The Minister of Energy surreptitiously jumped on a plane and then tweeting last night that he in Tobago in Venezuela in a meeting with Delcy Rodriguez and the head of PDVSA. Well, all you really reach. Well, small pin, I hope that you have really laid down the law and you have told Venezuela that if any information comes out that shows that they are involved in any way, that would catch Spraddle, Dragon Gas, and any business going forward, because you cannot deal with people who would damage your pristine, beautiful country that you love because you're so patriotic. And if they would do surreptitious activities which will damage your nation, you will not go forward in any business transaction with people like that. I hope you say that, small pin. What say you, Rowley? And just take note. Every time an international crisis occurs, Rowley or small pin just jump on a plane and go to the direct country. Remember Brent Thomas, Barbados, when the judge said that he had been kidnapped, that no paperwork, no natural justice, no treaty, no warrant, no charges were laid, and a CARICOM jet was used to kidnap Brent Thomas out of his courtyard Marriott Hotel, after he had informed the police who were investigating him, who had held him for 3 days without charge, and a judge was so flabbergasted, he said, release the man. He informed them, because his blood pressure went up and he was ailing, that he was going to Miami to see his doctor. Y'all didn't know that, eh? A letter is on the court record to show that he was going and informed the police. And Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados got together without paperwork, without extradition treaty, without charge, kidnap a man at 3 a.m. out the hotel room at Courtyard Marriott in Barbados, keep him in a dog kennel from 3 a.m. to 1 p.m., keep him on the tarmac. CARICOM then allowed a plane to land, take off, land in Trinidad, pick up Trinidad and Tobago police service officials, fly to Barbados, land on Barbados sovereign soil, and pick up Brent Thomas. And a judge described it as a kidnapping. As soon as that occurred, what did Rowley do? Rowley said, I'm going to Barbados. Now it's not to talk about that. I'm going to play golf. I had a holiday plan. Now, oil spill, calamity, danger, crisis. Venezuelan connection being reported by Bellingcat and tanker trackers. And just so, we see a tweet that small pin young, small pin of Rowley's K-Pax in Venezuela, meeting with Delcy Rodriguez and PDVSA officials. All you really good, yes? This might be the worst in the history of the Caribbean. These two clowns. Bless.